Hello everyone. So today we're going to be taking a look at this 2015 Audi TT, and special thanks to McGinley Motors, situated here in Letterkenny, County Donegal, for allowing me to review this car today. For all contact information in regards to the dealership, please see the description box below. Now unfortunately the weather's not really on my side today, so the way I'm going to do this review, I'm going to film the exterior of the car in this lit multi-story garage here at McGinley Motors. So I'll do the outside in here, and then I'll do the interior of the car outside in the daylight, and then at the end of the video I'm just going to post some photos of the outside and the inside of the car. So inside here you might not be able to see the color, for example, as well as you would outside, so I'll post the photos of the car at the end so you can see it a lot better. So in today's review we'll be taking a look at the interior of the car, explain how all the features work. We'll also start up, look at the engine, go over the performance data, take a look around the exterior, and we're going to take the car on a detailed test drive. So we'll just unlock it, and we're going to start today's review at the exterior. So I'm just going to fire up the car first, frameless windows. Okay, so there's actually a little pouch down here for the key fob. We'll just leave it there. Engine start stop button is located here. Just put my foot on the brake and hit the engine start stop button. So we'll power on the hazards, as well as the headlights and the rear fog lamps. And both front windows in this car are fully automatic. Alright, so this particular TT is the S-Line model, finished here in Scuba Blue Metallic. So this here is the Mark III, or the third generation of the TT, which came out in 2014. And it's got the LED headlights as standard with the sequential turn signals. And of course has Audi's Quattro four-wheel drive system. So from the outside I think it's quite a nice looking car. Very interesting styling. And coming around to the side you can see we got the 19-inch split 5-spoke alloy wheels. It has ventilated steel disc brakes in the front with solid discs in the rear, as well as an independent McPherson strut front suspension and a multi-link setup in the rear. We also got the LED indicators on the exterior mirrors, as well as the S-Line badge. And coming around to the rear you can see the LED taillights again with the sequential turn signals. And you also got the dual exhausts. And again with the Quattro badge. And this car also has the electric deployable rear spoiler, which I'll just demonstrate right now. And the boot spoiler itself also goes up automatically at 75 miles per hour. And you also got this very nicely designed fuel filler cap with the TT logo on it, and it just pops up there as soon as you press it in. But coming around to the rear again, we'll check out the boot space. As you can see, the TT has a hatchback, and you also got the LED license plate lights located on this half here. And it opens up quite a lot. Now there's a few things back here. There's a sports bag as well as some of my filming equipment. And we have 305 litres of boot space back here, so it's actually pretty good. You know, you could probably go shopping in this car and fit a few items in there, no problem whatsoever. It really isn't too bad. And you can also fold down them back seats as well. I believe I can actually do it with these little release handles here. There we go. And as you can see, they go down completely flat, so it's actually quite a spacious car. So you can definitely haul a few items back here, no problem whatsoever. Let's just go around it once more. I think they're very nice looking split 5-spoke alloy wheels. They look pretty good. And the car itself is pretty good in size as well. All-round visibility in this thing is excellent as well. I drove this car, I believe, a little over a month ago. Quite impressed with it. But certainly a good looking car on the styling front anyway. Okay, so when it comes to space in the TT, well, put it to you this way, the Ford Mustang GT, the Nissan GT-R and the Toyota GT86 are all effectively two-seater sports coupes that I've reviewed, and I've managed to fit in the back of them cars no problem whatsoever. Space is a little tight, but you are able to squeeze a person about 5'8" around my height into the back of them cars. However, with the TT, it is a little more difficult because there really is very minimal room back here, as I shall now demonstrate. So I pull this lever here to get the seat back forward, and then I have to use the electronic controls, which are quite slow, to get the seat to go forward, which is taking its time about. All right, now that we've done that, okay, I'm in. But I don't have much room on the floor, and if I actually just pull the seat back, I don't have a lot of leg room, even though I've actually moved the seat forward quite a bit, and I actually have no headroom at all. I feel incredibly claustrophobic back here. I can't sit in the back of this thing at all. It's really that bad. No headroom whatsoever, no leg room. So to say that the TT is a bit cramped is a bit of an understatement, to be honest. As a matter of fact, the room back here is terrible. It's awful. To be honest with you, I just kind of want to get out. It's really not the most pleasant place to sit. Oh my God. And you don't look particularly graceful trying to get out of this thing either. And then when you do get out, you have to put the seats back, which again takes an absolute age to do with these electric motors. Okay. And that's it. So not particularly spacious in the back. Certainly doesn't have as much room in the back as a GT86, a Mustang, or a Nissan GTR. Alright, so I just came to a nearby car park and the rain has actually stopped for just a couple of moments. Looks like it'll probably start again any moment. But I'll just take this opportunity to do a quick walk around of the car now that it's out in the daylight, so you can see it properly. Just have the rear spoiler up. And you can really see the blue, I think, in a lot more detail out here as well. It's a nice dark shade of blue. Seen it in a few other Audis before. And then you got the silver fuel filter cap there, which is very noticeable against the darker paint job. Just back around to the front. So let's just hop inside now and we'll give you guys a proper tour of some of the interior features. So you got the S-Line logo down here in the door sills. Full electric front seats. This car also has the grey, half leather, half Alcantara interior with the S-Line logo embossed in the seat here. And also, I'm actually only after noticing this, you got TT written here on the side of the dash. So as I said earlier, you can put the key fob, down into this little pouch here. And we'll just fire it up. Okay, we'll just turn down the radio. Alright, so this car has 18,921 kilometers on the clock so far. So where to start? Well, we'll start over with this side of the car. So you got a little bit of plastic materials here, soft touch plastics, and then you got the Alcantara here on the door panel. However, the one thing I will complain about, this storage bin down here is the only place in this whole car where I can actually fit this bottle of water I just bought. We actually do have a cup holder here in the center console, but it's the only cup holder in the car, and as you can see, my bottle of water doesn't even fit in it, so that's a bit of an issue. So I'll just put that back down here. Down here you also got your heated exterior power folding mirrors, your front electric window controls, and your central locking. And also up here you got the heated seats. Now they're integrated here into where you would normally find the air vents. Now this here is the air vent here, and then inside here you got your heated seat controls. And that same kind of thing is duplicated for the climate controls here in the center. So you got your fan speeds in this one, and then you got your temperature and automatic mode and your recycling and so on located there. And then you just got your rear defrost and your max AC. So that's a very clever design. And also the passenger has their heated seat control located just over there. Now the steering wheel itself, it's got the S-Line logo here. It's half perforated, so you just got perforations on the left and right sides. It's flat bottom, and it's a very nice 3-spoke leather wrap design with electric power steering. And you got nice thick 10-2 notches, as well as the paddle shifters for the 6-speed Tronic gearbox located here too. Then you get all your standard controls for the truck computer and so on located here. You got your voice command, satellite navigation, as well as your volume controls. And then you got this little snowflake button that you find in I think pretty much every Audi these days, which is a customizable button. So by pressing it, you can go through the radio stations, you can go through your Bluetooth connection, and a few other things. Now I'll actually talk about that button a little later in the video, but there's a set menu where you can set that button up to be a shortcut or a spare button, basically, to go through a few different functions. And this car also has rain sensing windshield wipers, and you also got the cruise control stock located down here. We also got the sports aluminium pedals too. Now the one thing I will say about this car, the first thing you're going to notice when you get inside the TT is there's no center screen here. Now Audi have done away with that in favor of putting all the car's features and functions in this 12.3-inch LCD screen. Now I can see why they did that, you know, to free up, I guess, the center console so you don't have a screen sitting there. But for me, this is a bit of an issue. You see, with every other car that I drive and review, I can have the advantage of, for example, maybe having the sat nav there, and if I want, I could duplicate the sat nav in this center screen if I wish, or I could just have that center screen, you know, displaying the gauges and what have you. But by removing the center screen, I find that this whole 12.3-inch display is very cluttered, because you're constantly going through it to find, you know, different things, like maybe I want the trip computer now, maybe I want the sat nav again, and this screen I find you're always changing. Now some people are probably okay with that, but for me I think it's just a bit too cluttered. I think I would rather if they had a center screen here. They could have even done the center screen like they do in the A7 and the A8. It would just maybe deploy out of the dashboard there, and then you can just fold it away when you don't want to use it. But that's just my own personal take on it, and as a result, because there's so much stuff in here, I'm actually still figuring out the screen as we go along. But located down here are the controls for the rear spoiler, your hazards, traction control, the engine start stop, and the drive select, which if I press, you got efficiency, comfort, automatic, dynamic, which I have it in at the moment, which is, you know, the sportier setting. And if we click individual and just go back into it, and I click the wheel over to the right, so you can set the engine and gearbox up, the steering, the 4-wheel drive system, and the engine sound. So if I actually just click it to dynamic, now I don't know how well you guys can hear that on camera, but you can hear the exhaust open up a little bit more. So in individual, you can have everything set up between comfort, auto, and dynamic as you wish. But I'm going to keep it in dynamic mode because I do like the extra exhaust noise you get. So coming down here, you also got a good deep storage area. As you can see, this cover slides over and back, and I don't know how well you can see it, but there is an auxiliary jack and 2 USB ports located down there. Got the engine start stop. You also have the volume control for the radio. Sound quality is pretty good in this car. And as I said, this car has got the 6-speed Tronic gearbox. You just got a little trigger in the front there. You can set between park, reverse, neutral, drive, and in drive you can knock it over to the left here and change gears manually with the gear stick, or the paddle shifters for a more sportier feel. And then down here you got your main controls for the MMI system. So you got this button here for selecting between the navigation and map, and then you got your radio and media, and then you got your main wheel here which you rotate and click left, right, up and down. and you got a few buttons located off to the side there, as well as your menu and back button. You also got the electronic parking brake and the auto hold feature. Now, as I said, I'm still figuring out this MMI system, but we'll go through it. So I need to get rid of that screen. So first off, we'll take a look at the navigation map. So it's pretty good in size, very good quality and good graphics. And as you can see here at the top left, it also tells you your range as well. So I got 210 kilometers left. And then if I click down, I can go through the mobile phone, so I can Bluetooth it, or Bluetooth my phone, sorry, to the car. And then in this main menu here, you got all your main settings. So you got your car settings, and as you can see, we got the trip computer. We can just scroll through that, and if I click it over to the right, you can have an additional display. So the previous owner put on the distance traveled as the additional display in this car, but you can also have your driving time, average speed, or no display at all. So let's go back here. And as you can see, when you go back into the menu, they actually shrink the rev counter and the speedo there, which is pretty handy. And then you can go through your sound settings, your radio stations. It actually took me a while to figure out how to tune in the radio in this thing. But if you click it over to the right, you got your different things here. I'm still learning how to use this car, unfortunately. There we go. So I just clicked up on that. And if I scroll up here, you can type in the name of the radio station, or if you go to the very end, you can type in the frequency using the numbers. Now, it took me a while to figure out how to get into that menu, but I finally got the radio station I was looking for. But that there just kind of furthers what I was saying earlier about having the screen here, because if I had a screen here, I could probably just do manual tuning with a knob or, you know, a slider, and that'll be a hell of a lot easier than what I'm doing here. And then media, so that's Bluetooth. I think that also includes your USB. Nope, it's just the Bluetooth settings. Oh, no, I was wrong. You got the auxiliary, USB, and SD card slot, as well as the CD player located in here. There we go. Just head back a few times. So that's the media. And then once again, you got your telephone, navigation, map, the Audi Connect system. And then you can go into settings for the language, date, measurement units, speech dialogue, and so on. And so now I'm going to demonstrate what this little button does. So if I just hold it in, the menu comes up here, and these are all the things you can set it to. So you can have it for the switch, Audi drive select mode, voice guidance on and off, navigation, map color between day and night, and all those different menus. So the previous owner set it to switch between radio and media. So that there is basically the MMI system. Now I hope I explained that properly, but you know, for me it's just a little on the fussy side, a little bit too complicated for my taste. But I reckon once you have it customized and set up the way you like it, you'll get used to it in no time at all. So other things about the interior of this car, well, as I said, there's a little pouch here for the key fob. You also got this center-mounted leather armrest, and you also got a storage container located down there. And I'm actually just realized that can act as a cup holder. So let me see if my bottle actually fits in there. And it does. There we go. We do have two cup holders, but thankfully actually it sits all the way back there. So even if you had a manual TT, your elbow wouldn't be hitting your drink as it would if it was in this cup holder here. So that's actually handy. Good thing I found that. We'll just put the little ashtray back in there. And you got the nice grey leather top. So the overall interior of this car is quite nice. The seats are very comfortable. You got an auto dimming interior mirror, as well as illuminated vanity mirrors, LED interior lighting in this thing. So it's a very nice place to be. You know, once you figure out the MMI system, everything's relatively simple and easy to use. I really like what they've done with the air conditioning controls here. That's a really cool design. You got little LCD screens located just here. And of course you have the Quattro badge. And you also got these adjustable leg rests as well. So pretty nice in here. As far as storage areas goes, you know, there's a couple. I mean, we got a glove box here, which is decent enough in size. You also got slots here for an SD card, SIM card, and another SD card. Don't know how well you can see them, but there they are. And the pockets there and the door bins are a bit on the small side, but thankfully I can fit my large bottle of water in there, no problem. Then you got this deep storage cubby, which is always handy to have too. And another storage compartment I just found is underneath the driver's seat, so that folds down and you can put a few items in there. And the bonnet release is located just down here on the driver's side footwell. The engine is a turbocharged 2-litre TFSI. It produces 230 brake horsepower with a top speed of 155 miles per hour. It also puts out 273 foot-pounds of torque and does 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds. As also said, this car can do about 42 miles to the gallon. Alright, so we're coming out to the dual carriageway, so I think we'll put the drive select into automatic mode. And we're also going to put the gearbox into manual, so I'll do that in just a moment. Okay, we're in manual mode, so I'm in second gear, and let's see what this thing can do. Ooh. Wow, okay, so it's fast, 230 horsepower from a 2-litre turbo petrol, and I was revving it quite hard there, and when I was changing gears you could hear the exhaust going boom, boom, boom. Little crackles and bangs from the exhaust in this thing. Very, very good. So it's quite a powerful car, and I actually drove this thing last month, and I have to say it's a very, very fast little car. 2-litre turbo, as I said, Audi's Quattro all-wheel drive system, or 4-wheel drive, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's fantastic. This thing gets up and goes in no time. It pulls really strong. Let's actually just drop it down. Oopsies. Shane's been bad. The little dashboard there just made a noise to let me know that I've gone a little bit too much over the speed limit, so whoopsies. But I must say, this thing pulls very, very strong. I just put the car back in the full automatic mode there. I mean, it's such a nice car to drive. I mean, it's got loads of power from this 2-litre turbo, and this isn't even the fast one. There's a TTS and a TTRS as well. But I must say, out here in this open road, it's fantastic to drive, and the steering weight is excellent too. It's really, really perfectly weighted for me. I will say that there's a little bit of tire noise getting in here, a bit more than I was expecting, but it's not too bad. I just noticed it back the road there when I opened the car up before I started filming this piece. But so far so good, I have to say. Just I'm a little speechless by this thing. I mean, this is the first time I've ever driven a proper high-powered 2-litre turbocharged sports car like this. I mean, the closest thing I've ever got to driving a sports car was the GT86, and that's got a naturally aspirated 2-litre engine with 197 horsepower. Now, you can actually have the TT with a turbocharged 1.8 petrol, and that puts out 180 horsepower. So, you know, if this 2-litre, you know, is just a bit much, or you don't particularly feel that you need a high-powered 2-litre like this, then the 1.8 is always an option. And I must say, this S-Tronic gearbox is excellent. I've used the S-Tronic in Audis before. I used it in that A7 that I reviewed the other week. Fantastic transmission. Gear changes are excellent. It's a brilliant, brilliant system. In saying that, if I was buying this car, I probably would like the 6-speed manual, just because, you know, I'm a driver, you know, enthusiast, driving enthusiast, kind of just prefer to have a manual gearbox, because there's that connection, I think, between, you know, the road and the car. It just makes the overall driving experience, I think, feel a bit better with a manual. But as far as automatics go, this 6-speed S-Tronic is excellent, and I love using the little paddle shifters as well. But we're just going around this roundabout now, and we're actually just going to leave the car in automatic modes, and we're going to see about the power once more. Okay, so we're in second gear. That's brilliant. There's some serious pull out of this thing. And also, when you have the car set into dynamic mode, it holds onto the gears a little longer, so, you know, they progress a little longer. That's excellent. This thing is brilliant to drive. The one thing I will say though regarding the engines, the 2-litre turbo that I have here and the 1.8 turbo are very good engines, but for some reason Audi offer the TT with a diesel, a 2-litre TDI diesel. I think that's about 180 horsepower. I'm not really sure why, to be honest, because this was designed from the ground up to be a sports car, and nobody buys a sports car with a diesel engine on purpose. I mean, I don't really see why anybody would wake up in the morning and think, right, I want a 2-door sports car, I want something that's fun and fast and just brilliant fun altogether to drive, but I want it with a diesel. I mean, diesel engines are reserved for economy cars, saloons, hatchbacks, crossover SUVs, that sort of stuff. Not really for sports cars, so I'm not really sure why this thing is offered with a TDI engine. I mean, you don't see Toyota putting their D4D units in the GT86 or Mazda putting the Skyactiv diesel in the MX-5, so I'm really not sure why Audi are offering the TT with a diesel option. To me, it's kind of mad. It kind of defeats the whole purpose of a sports car, because as I was saying earlier, nobody buys a sports car and thinks I want an economical diesel engine, because if you're looking for practicality and economy and, you know, something that's, you know, getting great MPG, you're not looking at a sports car, you're looking at a run-of-the-mill saloon or a hatchback, something that should have a diesel engine. But, you know, that's just a little mini rant. I would never buy a sports car like this with a diesel. You know, if I want something economical, I would look elsewhere. Look at maybe an Audi A4 or an A3 if I was looking in the Audi range. But, I mean, driving this 2-litre turbo petrol here, I couldn't imagine driving this thing with a diesel now. I mean, this engine is fantastic. It's got great pull. It's fantastic to drive. It even makes great noise, especially here in dynamic mode. You know, you can hear little blips in the exhaust between gear changes. I mean, it's an awesome little car. Alright, so we're just going to come on to these back roads, and we're actually going out these roads a little differently today to the normal route that I take. So we're going on to the twisty bit first, and we still have the car in dynamic mode, and the transmission is set to automatic. So let's see how it copes around these tight bends. Now this is a small compact car. Ground clearance in this thing is actually about 5.71 inches, so it's actually not too bad. I mean, I was driving this car over speed bumps earlier to get to that car park that I was at. I cleared the bumps no problem whatsoever. So out here in these back roads, it handles really well, to be honest with you. You can really stick it into these bends, and you can just trust the Quattro 4-wheel drive system to keep everything in check. And the power is excellent. It's a really nippy little car. I can feel a few bumps coming in to the car now, but it's not too bad. It's not as uncomfortable as you would expect. Let's just get some power going. Oh, this thing's addicting. This power is addicting, especially when you're not used to driving high performance cars like this. But ride quality, I think, out here seems to be pretty good, and it handles itself really well. But let's just keep going and see how it performs. So we'll go out here where there's a few more bumps. We're just actually going to go uphill now, so we can get the power back on. Yeah, now there's a lot of dips in the road here, and I must say, you know, the TT is doing a pretty good job for a sports car that's set to dynamic mode at absorbing them. It's pretty comfortable, actually. It's definitely a kind of car you can drive out in back roads and have a lot of fun with, because as I said, the steering feels really nice in this thing. The power comes on very well, and also if you don't want it set to dynamic mode, as I was showing earlier, you can go to individual and you can set up the engine in a gearbox and the Quattro system as you wish. So you can really have this car tailored to just the way you love driving. So, you know, you can have the suspension, set the comfort, and then you can have the engine, for example, set to dynamic mode, and you can get all the fun loud crackles and bangs that you get out of the exhaust. But anyway, so far so good with this TT. It's really nice to drive out in the open roads, and out here in the back roads it's pretty good as well. Alright, so I'm just bringing this car back to McGinley Motors now. I believe we have this one advertised for about $33,950, so it's a pretty good price, and the car has under 20,000 kilometers. But my overall impressions on the TT, I mean, this is the first time I've ever actually been in one of these cars. The TT originally came out in 1998, and then this Mark III model came out in 2014. It's a really fun car to drive. This 2-litre turbocharged petrol engine is fantastic. It's got excellent power. It accelerates brilliantly. The Quattro 4-wheel drive system is excellent, and it handles itself really well out in the back roads. You know, you can really stick it in the bends and out in the dual carriageway as soon as you put your foot down. It's excellent. It's a brilliant driver's car. The only things I don't like about it, I don't like the fact that there's no center screen. I find, as I was saying earlier, this 12.3-inch display just a bit too complicated, because you're constantly changing between screens and looking for different things. So it's a bit of a pain in the ass, I find, every once in a while. And the back seats are absolutely hopeless. Not only can I not fit back there, you probably couldn't even fit a child back there in any decent comfort. So those are there purely just to class this thing as a 4-seater, you know, to keep the insurance down, I guess. so they're completely hopeless. The best thing to do is to fold them down and just extend your boot space, which is excellent. The boot space in this car is really good thanks to the hatchback on it. So overall, a few dislikes about the car, but overall I have very positive opinions on this thing. I can see why people buy these. I can't see why people buy them with diesel engines. That's a bit weird in my opinion, because this car really shouldn't have a diesel. But overall, this particular one that I was driving, love it. Brilliant little car. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you again in the next one.